Eventually, I just had to sit down and go, all right, the inspiration is not kicking in the way that it normally does. I'm just going to go ahead and ask you guys, could you please do something? Because what normally happens is not occurring. And what they did for me is they sent Franco. And Franco looks a lot like Shrek. He's a little bit different than that. And he has, remember John Lennon had those circular wire rim glasses? So Franco looks kind of like Shrek, but not exactly. He's an ogre. And he had those sort of John Lennon-esque glasses. And whenever he would come in and we would start writing together, he would always hand me one white daisy. And I asked him, like, why? Eventually, I was like, why do you hand me the daisy? And he goes, it's just to calm you down. Like, it's easier to get through to you and to channel my writing through you if you're calmed down. And the daisy does the trick. And I was like, huh, smart. And so I did my channeled writing, and I had a tutor that I had worked with since my first semester. And like I said, this is pretty deep into the program. And I didn't turn in a single paper without running it by her, because she was just so much better than me at those little things that are very important, like punctuation and grammar and references. And I was pretty good, but she was perfect. So I always ran everything by her before I turned it in. And so she happened to also be one of my classmates, and she was in that class. And as part of the program, they would often have us post publicly commentary about some facet of the assignment. And so what I wrote was that I had really been struggling to work on the paper, and my normal version of creativity and inspiration and motivation didn't kick in. So I took myself into hypnosis. They all knew, at this point, knew that I was a spiritual hypnotherapist. I said I took myself into hypnosis. I asked for a subject matter expert, a spirit guide, to come in and help me. And then I started channeling the writing of this teammate called Franco. And so I wrote all of this publicly, right? Like, my freak flag has been flying for a long time. And so what was so great about that is that my classmate, who was also my tutor, she wrote to me privately, and she said to me, Courtney, I knew that you would never cheat. Like, I knew that you would never plagiarize, but there was a part of me that was wondering, like, who wrote that assignment, because it didn't seem like you. And I was like, yeah, man, I was channeling Franco. She was like, yeah, you really were, because it was a totally different writing style than you normally write. And I was like, yeah, they weren't giving me inspiration. I needed somebody else. And she was like, yeah, it was very distinct. I'm like, oh, cool. So it was so distinct that somebody else who knows my heart and knows that I would never cheat, she was like, I don't know if Courtney wrote that. And she didn't. Franco wrote it. I just did it. It was my fingertips. It was his words.